What if the most powerful religious leader in the world knew when it would all end? And what if that knowledge was locked away, buried deep within stone walls that have guarded secrets for nearly 2,000 years? For centuries, the Vatican has been the keeper of secrets. Its archives are a labyrinth of knowledge, containing texts that could rewrite history. But none are more guarded, more whispered about, than the ancient doomsday prophecies. We're not talking about vague predictions. We're talking about a specific terrifying countdown that points toward a final, cataclysmic event. So, we're pulling back the curtain on a mystery that has endured for centuries to ask the question: is the final chapter of a 900-year-old prophecy unfolding before our very eyes? The Vatican, a city-state of immense power, a symbol of faith for over 1 billion people, and a place of profound mystery. Its walls have witnessed the rise and fall of empires, but within them lies the Vatican Apostolic Archive. Until 2019, it was known as the Vatican Secret Archives. Now that name change wasn't just for appearances. The Latin word secretum didn't mean secret in the modern hidden sense. It meant private, as in the Pope's personal archive. Still, the name fueled centuries of speculation. What knowledge is kept under lock and key? While access is restricted, qualified scholars can and do conduct research there. Among all the potential secrets, one stands out for its chilling implications: the Prophecy of the Popes. It's a document that has both fascinated and terrified believers for centuries, claiming to be a countdown to the very last pope, who will reign during a time of immense suffering. This isn't just a historical curiosity. Many believe we are living in its final pages. With every papal transition, the world wonders if the next pontiff will be the last. So, what does the Pope, the man at the very center of this ancient drama, know? Is this an authentic warning from a 12th century saint? Or is it a clever and dangerous hoax? The Prophecy of the Popes, the ultimate countdown. To understand this incredible story, we have to go back to 1595. A Benedictine historian named Arnold Wyan published a massive book on the history of his order, titled Lignum Vitae, or The Tree of Life. Tucked inside was something astonishing. A text he claimed was from the 12th century Irish archbishop, Saint Malachi. But here's the thing. There's no evidence this prophecy even existed before Wyan published it. Most historians are convinced it wasn't rediscovered after 400 years, but instead created shortly before it was published. The text itself was a list of 112 short, cryptic Latin phrases. Each phrase was a motto that supposedly described every pope starting from Celestine II in 1143, all the way to the end of time. When it was published, it caused a sensation. The mottos for popes who reigned before 1595 were often eerily precise. For example, the motto for Pope Urban VIII was Lilium et Rosa, or the lily and the rose. His family's coat of arms featured lily and roses. But this is where the story gets a major crack. While the descriptions for popes before 1595 were remarkably clear, the mottos for the popes who came after became significantly more vague and open to interpretation. This glaring difference has led most historians to a startling conclusion. The Prophecy of the Popes is likely a masterful forgery, crafted in the late 16th century for political reasons. The leading theory points to the papal conclave of 1590. One of the top candidates was Cardinal Girolamo Simoncelli, from a town called Orvieto, which in Latin is Urbe Vignum, meaning Old City. Wouldn't you know it, the prophecy's motto for the next pope was Ex Antiquitate Orbis, or from the Old City. The theory is that Simoncelli's supporters created the prophecy to make it seem like he was divinely destined for the papal throne. By making all the previous prophecies stunningly accurate, they gave the document an air of authenticity. The plan failed. Simoncelli wasn't elected, but the prophecy he may have inspired took on a life of its own. embedding itself into the Catholic consciousness for the next 4 centuries. Whether a genuine vision or a cunning fabrication, the prophecy laid out a timeline, a countdown that was now public knowledge. And as the centuries passed and the list of popes grew shorter, the world's attention turned to the terrifying prediction for the future, the 112th and final entry on the list. Peter the Roman, the final pope? The list progresses, pope by pope, motto by motto. Paul VI is Flos Florum, the flower of flowers, matching the lily on his shield. John Paul I is De Medietate Lunae, of the half-moon, a nod to his short 1-month reign. John Paul II is De Labor Solis, from the labor of the sun, which some connect to his birth and burial during solar eclipses. Benedict XVI, the 111th Pope, is given the motto Gloria Olivae, the glory of the olive, which some have linked to the Benedictine order, a branch of which is known as the Olivetans. Then, after the glory of the olive, the prophecy changes. The structure breaks. The final entry isn't a motto, but a chilling paragraph describing the final pope, Petrus Romanus, Peter the Roman. The prophecy concludes with these words: "In the final persecution of the Holy Roman Church, there will reign Peter the Roman, who will feed his flock amid many tribulations, after which the 7-hilled city will be destroyed, and the dreadful judge will judge the people." The end. Let that sink in. The prophecy, real or fake, ends not with a whimper, but with an apocalypse. It predicts a final pope named Peter the Roman, a profoundly symbolic name, bookending history with the first pope, Saint Peter. His reign is described as a time of many tribulations, culminating in the destruction of Rome and the Last Judgment. For centuries, this was a distant threat. But with the resignation of Benedict XVI, the Pope of the glory of the olive, the prophecy was suddenly thrust into the spotlight. The election of his successor in 2013, Jorge Mario Bergoglio Pope Francis, brought it to a fever pitch. Was Francis the prophesied Peter the Roman? The connections are a stretch. His birth name isn't Peter, and he's from Argentina, not Rome. But that hasn't stopped believers. Some point to his Italian heritage, or that Saint Francis of Assisi, for whom he took his name, had a father named Pietro, or Peter. More recent speculation has focused on who might come next. One name stands out with an almost unbelievable resonance: Cardinal Pietro Parolin, the Vatican's Secretary of State. His first name is Pietro the Italian for Peter. He is Italian, making him literally a Roman. While his name makes him a figure of interest for prophecy believers, it's important to remember that papal elections are famously unpredictable. It's also worth noting that prophecy doesn't say Peter the Roman will be the next pope, only the last one. But that nuance is often lost in the sensationalism. The narrative is simply too powerful. A countdown to doomsday, hidden in plain sight. The Vatican's wall of silence. So, what does the Vatican itself and the Pope say about all this? The answer is, officially, almost nothing. The Catholic Church has no official stance on the prophecy of the popes. It has never endorsed it, but it also hasn't issued a formal, sweeping condemnation. Instead, numerous Catholic theologians and officials have dismissed it over the years as a forgery that shouldn't be taken seriously by the faithful. This approach is strategic. To formally condemn the prophecy might give it more attention than it deserves, while acknowledging it could fuel panic. So, the Holy See has largely let the prophecy exist in a gray area between folklore and faith. This complex relationship with prophetic traditions isn't new. The Church has always approached such visions with extreme caution. While it recognizes the possibility of genuine private revelation, like the visions at Fatima, these are subjected to intense scrutiny and are never considered binding for all believers. The Church is wary of anything that could lead to sensationalism. The Pope and the Vatican's top cardinals are, without a doubt, aware of the prophecy's history, its contents, and its disputed origins. They know the scholarly consensus is that it's a 16th century forgery. When Pope Benedict XVI resigned, he was certainly conscious of being the glory of the olive, and the Vatican press office was swamped with questions. Their response was a polite dismissal. But for some, the lack of a single definitive debunking from the very top isn't a sign of dismissal, but of concealment. They see the prophecy not as an isolated text, but as one piece of a larger puzzle of forbidden knowledge, locked away from the world. The official story is one of scholarly skepticism. The unofficial story is one of a carefully guarded, apocalyptic secret. Beyond Malachi, other forbidden knowledge. The prophecy of the popes is the most famous, but it's far from the only apocalyptic text associated with the Vatican. The allure of the apostolic archive lies in what else might be hidden there. A prime example is the third secret of Fatima. In 1917, 3 shepherd children in Portugal claimed to receive visions and 3 secrets from the Virgin Mary. The first 2 were revealed in the 1940s, but the third was sealed in an envelope sent to the Vatican and was not supposed to be opened until 1960. 1960 came and went, fueling decades of speculation. When the Vatican finally released the text in 2000, it described a vision of a bishop dressed in white being killed, which the Church interpreted as a symbolic reference to the 1981 assassination attempt on Pope John Paul II. However, many Fatima enthusiasts were unconvinced. They believe the Vatican only released part of the secret, a claim the Vatican has repeatedly denied. This controversy feeds the narrative that the Vatican actively manages information it deems too disturbing. Then there are the more outlandish theories that border on science fiction. These claims, which are not supported by any credible evidence, suggest the Vatican is concealing far more shocking knowledge, from proof of ancient extraterrestrial contact to suppressed gospels that portray a different version of Jesus. While these fringe theories are easy to dismiss, they tap into a deeper truth about the Vatican's role in history. For centuries, the Church was the primary custodian of Western knowledge. It decided which texts were preserved and which ideas were orthodox. This historical role as the gatekeeper of information makes it a natural target for theories about hidden knowledge. The Pope sits at the top of this institution. He knows about the prophecy of the popes and the controversies surrounding Fatima. The question isn't if he knows about these prophecies, but how he and the Church view them. Does he see them as historical curiosities? As dangerous falsehoods? Or, in the quiet of his office, does he ever wonder if they might contain a grain of truth? We're left with a story woven from history, faith, and political intrigue. The prophecy of the popes is almost certainly a 16th century forgery, a brilliant piece of propaganda that has become an enduring myth. The Vatican's position is one of strategic dismissal, treating it as little more than a historical footnote. And yet, the story refuses to die. Its power isn't in its authenticity, but in the profound questions it makes us confront. It taps into a deep-seated human fascination with the idea that powerful institutions might be hiding the truth. The Pope is aware of all this. He knows the historical analysis that debunks the prophecy and understands the spiritual danger of placing faith in such unapproved revelations. But he is also the shepherd of a global flock, a flock that is often captivated by these mysteries. Does he possess secret knowledge about the end of the world? Almost certainly not. But he is the custodian of the institution that these very prophecies claim to foretell. Is the world teetering on the edge of the tribulations Malachi's prophecy describes? Or is this just a powerful story, a 400-year-old piece of fiction we keep telling ourselves, because sometimes a terrifying narrative is more comforting than the chaos of an unwritten future? The final answer, it seems, remains a secret. If you want to continue exploring the world's greatest mysteries, make sure you subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell. What are your theories about the prophecy of the popes? Do you believe it's a genuine vision or a clever hoax? Let us know in the comments below. We read every single one.